by the magnetic pull of the mitochondria, the powerhouse, electromagnetism, right? And you can only get mitochondria from the woman. Hail Mary, Mother of God. What the hell that make her? Right. Creator God giving birth to ruler God.
Go ahead.
Right? They tell you it's two people in the story, but you ain't pay attention because Emmanuel's name is only mentioned one. The Son. They only mention his name one time on his birth. The Immaculate Conception. Mm-hmm. Right? But they don't talk about him no more because his mama is doing her work. Isis, who y'all call Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when they call her Jesus, this is how they know all of the people with them stringy beards and hippie haircuts ain't Jesus, because they know in the secret societies that Jesus is a woman.
Right.
So whoever come in talking about they Jesus and they looking like a man, they know he of automatic fraud. and that's going to get you killed quicker than what you, or arrested quicker than you can imagine. Labeled a cult leader and tore down. Don't nobody want to just go to the Greek and see where Jesus is ISIS. And so they overlook it because of doctrine. Mm-hmm. The structure and the order by which the doctrine must be given in a manner that could subdue the minds of the people. Your genetic memory, remember the story. Mm-hmm. So you're drawn to it. But your intellectual prowess is arrested development through the 12-step thinking detox called school. So now they're able to fascinate your mind with a fairy tale mixed with truth. Mm. And now you can't figure out exactly what you're hearing. You know the story, so you believe the narrative.
Right.
Because it's part of who you are, the holy drama. But since we don't remember the holy drama, the Usurian resurrection story, we go with the resurrection story they gave us in the false messiah they painted for us, Caesar Borgia.
Right. Hey, Rod, that brings me to my next question. And we're going to take questions from the crowd for you you lady chiefs that was asking the questions on my others live. And I told you I'm going to get Rod on. We're going to take some of y'all questions in a minute. Hey, Rod, could you go in on the power that Big Mother had to raise 3 and 4 generations of kids? Like my Big Mama, I know she raised at least 4, like even a generation after my generation, she raised some of them kids. Could you go in on what gave Big Mama that power to where she can? I mean, I know what gave her the power. I don't know if I'm wording that right, but what type of energy did Big Mama have to be able to take care of 4 generations of kids? Her kids, they kids, and they kids, etc. Go ahead.
It's only 2 things: love and experience. She loved her family, and she got the experience of raising children from the mistakes she made raising her own. And when she raised grandchildren, she refined it even more. By the time she get to great grands, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Now she can sit there and tell the young mother everything to do to make her life easier as a mother because she had the most experience. That experience is her training program for being Big Mama. Uh-huh. She had to go through the ringer when she was younger in order to develop the asset skills and development when she was mature. Mm-hmm. And all of the time, like my mama been building our family unity since she was a little girl. Mm. She was destined to be a Big Mama one day. Right? And she was the one that all her sisters used to call. No matter what the problem was, Shirley knew how to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Call Shirley.
And my mama might not have knew how to fix it, but she said, let me think on it for a minute and I'm going to figure something out. Mm-hmm. And she always figured something out.
Fire. That's fire, right? That's a brilliant answer, right? Like you can't That was just divine truth right there. How big you said experience and love. That is just straight up raw and uncut truth right there. That Big Mama was able to do that. And Big Mama also fed communities. Because my Big Mama used to cook. Every time she cooked enough for a football team. Every time. You
it's funny you say that. Because if the rumor got out that my mama was cooking some greens this weekend, yeah, I guarantee you it's gonna be people from Chicago, Grand Rapids, Detroit, all over Michigan. We're gonna have both sides of the street. One side of our street no parking, right? But both sides of the street gonna have cars parked all up and down the block.
Yeah, come and get a plate.
They come to get a plate. Man, my mama couldn't cook in no regular old pot. She had to use military pots. She used to have to cook like she cooking for the military. And that it didn't last. Mm-hmm. We didn't hardly ever get to throw no food away because it was, till we got older and everybody started wanting fast food, but couldn't nobody out cook my mama.
That's deep. Hey man, so I noticed this too. Back in the day, like when we was dealing with Jim Crow and everything, and it's a question really. When we was dealing with Jim Crow and segregation and they was treating us. But I noticed Big Mama still got respect from like the chief of Ku Klux Klan, police, and then some of them cats, man, they would come by Big Mama house to get a plate. Some of them white guys, and then Big Mama said, "I raised him." Like the white boy, I said, I raised that white boy. You know what I'm saying? That's why he liked it, But what type of energy is that Big Mama had that type of respect, even from the most racist guys in town? You know what I'm saying?
Most of them was only racist for public opinion. Especially when they had one of our Big Mamas was their nanny. They would go at your head faster than us about our own Big Mama. Right, so the society was racist. They had racist laws on the book that they had to follow, which gave a social conditioning to a racist psychology. Racism is an artificial construct, and they made skin color the foundation of racism when everybody the same skin color ain't the same race. Right? So racism in and of itself is flawed. The whole philosophy of racism is flawed. But when you say skin-based racism, we are shades of wheat. And if you ain't light enough wheat, you can't participate in the society. That was all done by your so-called political Masons and Shriners in order to facilitate the George Washington Challenge. That's why the legal term for white people didn't exist in law until 1681. It wasn't part of our reality before that. Skin-based racism was not a thing before that. Right? And it didn't become enforceable until after the Civil War. Right? And how they enforced it, this is when they started to import pale faces from Europe. So now they can cover up the dirty hand by putting the pale face up as being the ones that did everything before 1681, and they wasn't even here yet.
Hey, Ron, my next question, that's fire. My next question I got for you is about, okay, so like back in the day, we're still dealing with the feminine energy, and we're talking about lady chiefs, but I want to stimulate towards the white women back in the day that started all these things like Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was dealing around a white woman. Now, what's interesting, I did this tape the other day about this guy, Robert F. Williams, who was the guy that said we're going to match lynching with lynching, right? I think you told me about the guy. That's why I did a tape on him, right? Now, a white girl kissed two black boys, and the black boys wasn't like asking for no kiss or nothing. They just walking down the street. She just walk up and kiss them, and she go tell her mother and her mother calls the cops, and these guys get arrested and slammed into prison. What type of ideology were they on to with this white white girl get touched, white girl get kissed? It happened to Emmett Till, and then she come clean on her deathbed and say Emmett Till wasn't doing nothing. But what type of game is that for them to run with the white girl?
It serves several purposes, right? So go back if you want to understand it a little better. Read J. Rogers, Nature Knows No Color Line, Sex and Race, and Superman the Man. Right? You got to understand what's the psychological game being played. It's a reverse psychology. Also, that goes along with that is your Walter Plecker and your all of these racial purists or eugenics movement. Now, it's a psychology that comes from that when they couldn't get the guys in the tribes to associate with the women that needed the drop of blood. So they reverse psychology, they make them become the standard of protection, which makes them the beauty standard. But all of their beauty standard is to imitate the system. Right? So by telling the guys what he can't have, it make it become more desirable to the guy. Can't have that. Right? So it was a reverse psychology at play in order for them to get their one drop of blood. Remember, they was allowed to get their one drop of blood by any means necessary. This is why your so-called plantation rapes, them wasn't the plantation owners that was doing all that raping, them was the management team of pale-faced Europeans. And part of his payment was he had to have fornication rights under the king. Fuck rights. And that was part of the distribution of the booty in war. Right? So the dirty Moor who sweetheart swindled Big Mom and poisoned her hired these pale faces to make him look like he a servant too, but he all the time running them. He the one paying their check. And then later on, his plan is to liquidate the property asset through a sharecropping agreement that's gonna fail because they're gonna burn down the crops. So now he got two options: move the family off the land and give it to the bank, right? Or the mortgage company, the debt pledge company, which is a death pledge company, which takes you back to your most violent bloody oath, right? So when we see what they're doing, they rewrite the story and tell us it's a slave narrative. But for the 100 and some years that they allowed the pale faces to run rampant, raping the women in the family farm that they called the plantation, he lightened up certain bloodlines on the plantation. Because sometimes you got to remember, it's already recorded in the historical record that some of these guys is raping sister, have a baby by her, rape her, have a baby by her, rape her, have a baby by her for 5 and 6 generations. We talking the dilution of the blood quantum, which is actually the dilution of the skin pigment, right? So now when they leave the farm under the pretense of being free from slavery, which was actually the publicizing the public side of slavery, getting rid of the private sector. Because under the private sector, that means that the man and the woman of the house controlled the plantation or the farm, which was a sizable portion of land. Some of them got cities on them now, which used to just be the little housing development on the farm where all of the people used to stay. So, you got to look at everything that was being done and you understand why they doing what they did. In hindsight, always make it clear to see it then as long as you're not following a given narrative, you're not going to see the same story. But with following the given narrative, you came on a slave ship, they worked you on the plantation, then they set you free.
Bullshit. Like, even the people on that movie, if you go back and watch a movie called Patriot, on Patriots with that, I can't think of that white boy name, but when the British come, they asked them slaves, they said, you can come fight for King George and be free. They said, we ain't, we aren't no slaves. We just work here. We just sharecropper. Yeah, that's what they told. That's what they told them. You go back and watch it again. When they were talking about death to King George, they said we ain't no slaves. They was letting us know then that the slave narrative was game. But this is my next question for you, Rod. Now, what do you say to the brothers who go, like the brothers who all their life they were a sister, they all through high school, a sister holding them down through college, and then they go to the NBA or to some professional league, or they get some Fortune 500 job, and then they drop the sister to the curb and get the white girl. What type? They said somebody said jungle fever. But what type of mentality is that, Rod, for a brother to drop the sister after he get the money, and then the white woman inherited the wealth while the sister?
I don't think every one of those cases are the same. Because you got brothers who still with the sister they came with.
LeBron.
Denzel's the perfect example. He's still with the one he came with. Now, whether he did some dibbling and dabbling on the side, that'd be true. It's the nature of the man. Right? Sexual conquest is the nature of the man. Because the sex is the acceptance of women. But when we talking about athletes, well, you got to look at one thing too. Once you get up in that socioeconomic bracket, years ago, wasn't there sisters up there? So when he left the sister, he was only around that socioeconomic group. So this is what he became familiar with dealing with. It's another form of psychological development into moving you along the path that they want you to take in the system. Remember, the early athletes wasn't doing that. In the Dr. J era, you wasn't seeing that. That happened later when the contracts got bigger and the exposure to the people around you changed. Right? Now, somebody that grew up in the chaos of the hood and get the taste of the piece of the suburb, they might not never go back to the hood again. Right? Because the energy is different. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that all of those cases are the same, and I don't think that the brother dropped the sister just because she's a sister. I think they had relationship problems while he was on the come up that they never dealt with. Mm-hmm. But now that he's financially stable, he can see all of the cracks in the relationship because he's not focused so much on the grind no more.
This makes sense.
You overlook a lot of stuff while you on the grind, and sometimes you don't see the backbiting behavior. Right? You don't see the little slight diss. Right? That's gonna come back and haunt you later. You don't have time to pay attention to it because you focused on the grind. When your opportunity to see stuff different and you no longer focus on the grind, the relationship that was already rocky that didn't nobody admit now becomes apparently dysfunctional. Right?
Okay, go ahead. You finished? Oh, go ahead.
No, one more thing. Ain't no man gonna leave a good woman for the speculation of the next woman. Ain't no man that's a man gonna leave a good woman
I know it tells
for another woman. I don't care what color she is. If she a good woman, she got to make that man leave. He ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. And it's not always the same in the reverse. Sometimes, most of the time, the good men get treated the worst because they good men.
Right. All right, Rod. This might now we getting a little late, so now we can get my questions for to get a little more exclusive for my ladies and my lady chiefs. Now the next question we have for you, Rod, is when I was younger, I used to hear my younger some of my auntie and them, and I used to hear my big mama tell them when they come home at late at night in the middle of the night, and she used to say, a dry purse and a wet ass don't match. Could you go in on what Big Mama, dry purse and a wet ass don't match. Could you go in on what Big Mama was trying to get over to the young girls when she was giving them that riddle?
She was telling them basically that if you're gonna give away the cookies, you ain't gonna never get a cookie jar. Cookie jar is the house and the husband. So you just sitting up here with a wet ass, you been giving up the ass, right? You ain't gonna never get what you trying to get. If you're gonna give it away, you might as well get something for it. If you're gonna be a hoe, be a good one. Like Willie D said, let a hoe be a hoe, right? Big Mama tell her the same thing. If you're gonna be a hoe, be a hoe. Don't be half-assing it.
Coming home broke, no money. Now, hey, we got an hour in. I got this is my last question. Then we'll take questions from the crowd. Hey, Rod, do you think that women are better teachers than men? Because I noticed there's more women school teachers than it is men school teachers. My sister's a school teacher. Do you think that women are better teachers than men, especially for the kids?
Certain age brackets, women can reach children easier than men, right? But it's not we used to women being our first teacher because mama is our first teacher. So women know how to communicate to a child from a mother's perspective that get through to children easier. And if she become a trained teacher, she put mother skills with that, and she's able to reach children easier. But I don't know if that make her a better or worse teacher. Some men, like most of the men, they teach adults better, right? This is why when you get to the university, after you went through school, you get to high school, you got more male teachers than you do in elementary. Excuse me. You got more male teachers than elementary. But the closer you get to university, you start getting more and more male professors. Because male adults teach adults different, more analytical, and women can teach a left brain child how to process right brain data, which will give him the balance. So if he have a good teacher, a good woman teacher in early years, he gonna be easier for the male teacher to teach in later years.
Hey, Rod, for all my women chiefs that was in the comments asking the questions the other day, they wanted to ask the questions to Brother Rod. Drop them in the chat right now. We're gonna put them on the screen. Hey, Rod, what should while we wait on them to drop the questions, what should women chiefs on the land be doing now? And do they gotta have paperwork from the government or somebody? How does that work?
The government and the paperwork have nothing to do with being a chief. Right. Mainly what they doing is building bonds and bridges in the family and fixing broken parts. Family members just can't get along. They figure out, okay, y'all might not be able to get along, don't got nothing to do with the kids. Right? They figure out a way to keep the cohesion in the family. And this is why there's a lot of time Big Mama helped the female chief do this, because she's training them also to become big mamas later on in her absence. But the ability to reach out to different family members, remember I told the male chiefs the same thing. The more family members that you reach out to, the higher your rank in your family. And once you start getting that relationship built with the family, then you will start getting distant relatives reaching out to you, right? And then you will learn how much reach your family really do have, and if y'all was organized, how potent you can be as a family unit.
That is deep, Rob, because you might got somebody in your family that do like that's on tire shop, or they're mechanic. Like we got a family mechanic. Everybody in my family, we take our car Little Man. Little Man is the family mechanic, and then he got people that he training under him that's gonna take his spot. And it just depends on what you want done. We got somebody in the family we could go to. But the female, you saying that the female role is to get that back organized again, to where everybody know who what. Go ahead.
Part of the organizational structure is to know who can do what. So let's say we get in a situation where we need a cyber geek. Oh, that's my cousin Cheryl's son. All he do is sit there and break computers apart and write programs all day for fun. The government don't know nothing about him. He the greatest hacker that don't hack, right? Because he got a good spirit, good nature. He's a good person. He don't want to break the law, but that don't mean he don't know how to do it, right? So when you need a cyber expert, he already trained. You got to know the skill set of in the family, and then you'll know who the function go to. Like, I'm not the banker. My sister Robert and my cousin Ray is the bankers, right? Because when they got to sign off on the family giving you money to open the business, Ray gonna tell you no if it's some bullshit, and Robert gonna tell you no if the numbers don't match. That accountant don't add up. You got to go back and figure it out, redo it, or we're going to have to get you some help because this ain't working. We can't give you money to just throw it down the drain, right? So you got a family banker. They know how to look at the proposals of the business idea, and they want you to be successful, because if you're successful, that means that's one most successful family member, right? Outsiders don't want you to be successful because that's more competition for their family member.
Somebody said, why did they change the mother to father, dominant line? The mother carries the mitochondrial DNA.
You're correct. The reason they switched it from the mother line to the father line is to usurp the mother's right to not sell the land. It was part of the trick. Go to Instagram, type in the goddess glowed up, Hydea Barbell. She is the priestess that does that. The goddess glow up. I don't know when her next event gonna be, but that's what she's been doing for years. And there's other groups that also assist in that. People do ceremonies according to what they feel in their energy, rituals and stuff like that. And if you feel like that's what you need to do, organize it, put it together, and do it. It's not what I think. It's what the spirit is instructing you to do. Be obedient to your spirit. Follow your intuition. In Kemet, that was a countdown. In English, they give us the countdown 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But in Kemet, the countdown was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. In science, 1, 2, 3, 4 mean put it in its standard order. The order that you know that it's supposed to be in. So it's a lot of meanings to 1, 2, 3, 4. sum total being 10, alpha meets omega. You got to get all of the deeds that came from the first transaction on the land. None of these transactions on the land is over 200 years old. It's just that they burned down so many courthouses, libraries, and state buildings in the early 1900s, late 1800s to deliberately destroy the records. But even then, we still had sizable portions of land. For me to give you a clear-cut way to get your land back, I have to look over your paperwork. But just remember, when the land is changing hand and you seeing these signatures on there, make sure they're a family member signature or the deed is defective.
Hey, Rod. So, what do you think? Because I saw that they did a mass shooting. I think it was a day or two ago at the Catholic Church. So, you think they still trying to pull that Manchurian candidate stuff?
I'm glad you brought that up. Did you see the new school commercial?
Nah, I ain't seen this new school commercial.
Look, I'm gonna have to send it to you, and we'll see if we can play it. But they telling the parents don't send your children to these schools this year because we finna see more school shootings than ever. They just had one in Wisconsin, but they using Manchurian candidates to shoot up these schools.
Yeah, hey, Rod, I saw an ad that they was doing where they said that they just added new metal detectors at all these schools down here, and I was saying why they just all of a sudden do that. And they already had them in a lot of schools that like the schools that was already dangerous, but they starting to add extra locks and stuff like they get gearing up for something. And then all of a sudden the school shooting, I mean with the at the Catholic school.
I just sent you a back to school.
Let me try to get it.
Yeah. So they telling us what's about to happen. And remember, I've been telling them for 2 years now, stop sending your children to public education. So you can listen or you don't have to listen. But see, a lot of people need the school to be their babysitter. So they risk their child life to get a break for them for 4-5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. And if they athletes or something, they can get rid of them for up to 10 hours a day.
That's crazy, man. Like you think that school was specifically targeted for the get the media publicity and things?
Look, I don't know. Okay, so a lot of people think that when you say false flag event, that means it didn't happen. That's not what false flag means. It means that they used the incident, in order to do something politically they already wanted to do. They might use the school shooting rash to bring in more National Guard troops.
That sound